Chris, good seeing you, man.
Yeah.
Because we were just talking before we started this interview that I think the last time we saw each other was at the CCMAs.
Yes, I think it was CCMA London, Ontario.
Yes, it was. How was that experience for you, man?
It was good. It was good. It was a busy CCMAs. There was a lot going on, and it was one of our first CCMAs. I think it was my second CCMA I've ever been to, and only got good memories that I can remember.
Well, you know what? Good. Well, we're going to create good memories now. You're here in Toronto. You can hear the band playing in the background.
Yeah.
You've been doing a bunch of interviews today. You also have a Facebook Live happening too, right?
Yeah, we'll be doing that a little later on. It's just a nice way to get fans engaging. It's kind of like hanging out, but they're not there, but they kind of are there. So
Look, man,
you know,
Facebook is connecting everybody, and I'm really glad that they're connecting to your music, my friend.
Thank you.
How does it feel? What are we looking at? 20? I mean, people say that you were introduced to us in 2017, but you've been doing this longer than that.
I've been doing this a long time. We were a bar band for 6 or 7 years, 5 nights a week, and that's where I learned to entertain people. I was playing in the bar scene, and obviously we're out of the bar scene now, but I think it really helped myself be a better performer by putting the hours in on stage.
But before that, though, the love of music, the love of country music, the love of blues country music, where did that come from?
My dad used to listen to country music when I was a kid growing up.
And sorry, growing up where?
I grew up in Midland, Barrie, Ontario kind of area up there. Moved out to the West Coast later, I guess during high school. But I remember my dad playing country music, and then I started singing, and I realized I had a kind of a deep kind of country sounding voice. Never expected it, but I've been doing country my entire career since then, yeah.
Stories, though, man, when you were growing up, what kind of stories did you like to listen to through the music? And then what kind of stories did you start to develop in telling your own story?
I think this new album, All In, is telling my story. I'm not writing about the cliche, I guess, kind of country songs about trucks or beer. I'm writing songs about myself and experiences, and I feel like I'm growing not only as an artist but as a songwriter because I'm writing about what I want to write about now, and it feels good.
No, your first, you call it album or EP that was released?
Chris Buck Band was our first self-titled album.
Album.
And this is a 6-song EP that's out now, yeah.
So when the first album came out, of course, you had a single that you had with a certain other female country artist.
I did, Kira Isabella. That was a very special song. I think it's got almost 5 million streams online.
And sorry, the song was?
That's When You Know. I wrote that for my girlfriend at the time because I knew she was the one, and yeah, sometimes you don't know, right?
I was about to say, I like how you said my girlfriend at the time. And,
yeah.
But you know what? Usually that's when really great songs work out. Were you surprised in how it hit and connected with fans?
A little bit. It was actually the first ballad I've ever wrote, and it wasn't even written as a duet. I heard the song Picture by Sheryl Crow and Kid Rock, and I was like, I changed the words around to get Kira involved, and then when she heard the song, she wanted to be a part of it, and the rest is history.
Why was she the right person for this?
We were both with the same label at the same time, so it was just an easy. I was thinking of other females in the Canadian country music scene that would fit that role, and a couple of the other ones have done duets, and I realized she hasn't, so it was like the perfect kind of opportunity, I think, for both of us to do a cool love song, yeah.
But not only fans were loving it, I mean, your peers were too. I never know what it was, the British BC Country Music Awards up there? What
British Columbia, yeah, BCCMA, so British Columbia Country Music Awards. Yeah, we won Album of the Year, was it last year or the year before, for it, and I think it had a lot to do with just writing songs that people can relate to, yeah.
But then CCMAs, man, nominations going on there too?
That was a big one. CCMA nom, totally didn't expect that. It's just interesting to see how people hear something and they feel a part of it. And I think that song taught me a lot about myself as well because I'm writing songs now, seeing the impact of people, and it makes it so much more fun.
So now when you have that type of success going on, when this EP came up, do you push that success aside and just go, okay, I want to write on how I'm feeling and what's going on in my life right now? Or do you kind of latch on to a little bit of what brought you to this table?
I guess a little bit of both. Like when I get into a writing room, I don't go, I'm going to write a certain song. I kind of feel out the vibe. But I want to be more real or maybe talk about things that are more important to me now. As before, I feel like I was like, oh, so-and-so artist does it this way and everyone thinks it's cool, so I'll do that too. As I feel like now, I write what I want to write. If people like it, awesome. If they don't, then maybe I'll get them on the next one.
All right. Well, this album EP. I mean, what was the storyline behind this? What were you feeling? What was coming out for you for this one?
Yeah, I think it was just it's a little more mature. I was focusing more on lyrics because country music, I was listening to melodies, and I've never been a lyric guy. And I think the importance of telling a story, and a lot of listeners listen to that. So I'm realizing the importance of the lyrics. So yeah.
What's the latest single for this one?
It's called Good Old Days. I wrote it just about sometimes people get so busy in life they don't take a second to look back on the good old days. And we have a music video coming out on the 26th, and it's got footage of me as a kid and where I am now. And by seeing that footage, I was like, wow, like it brought me back to those times, and it was so cool. Yeah.
When you see something like that, I always think about one of my favorite movies, the Hot Tub Time Machine.
Right. Cool. Yeah.
If I could throw you in there, man, and you went back to those pictures, those kids, is there any advice that you would have given yourself back then that you know now with all the experience that you have?
Man, that's a good question. Geez. Probably not, because the cool thing about music is everyone has their own path and everyone gets to a level their own way. It's not like you go to school to be a lawyer. When you're done, you're going to be a lawyer. With music, everyone has on their own journey, and I think it's the importance of taking time to enjoy the moments along the way, because you're always so focused on, what's tomorrow? You don't take a second to actually enjoy what's happening, because I don't want to be 20 years down the road and be like, oh yeah, music was fun, but I don't remember anything and I didn't enjoy any of it. So I think it's a different way of looking at it now. Yeah.
No, definitely, man. So 2019, what are we looking at here? Because we've got this great music out there, are we looking at hooking up on tours? I mean, you've done Boots and Hearts before. Yeah. Is that going to happen again? What are we looking at?
Yeah, I think this. We've always been a busy band. We played 150 shows a few summers ago, and we're crazy. We've always been a band that plays not only big cities but small communities, and we're known for that. And I think a lot of our most hardcore fans are small community people because we've taken the time to play for them. And I don't want to stop doing that. I always tell my agent, I'm like, if we can play the big ones, they're fun, but getting to these small communities and building a fan base there, it's the coolest thing. You go one year, you play in front of 50 people, next year 100, then you got their whole town out for when you're there. It's awesome. Yeah.
You remind me about something I wanted to ask you, though, because I figured your band was probably one of those kind of bands that have done it. What's been the most remote place that you've ever performed at where you were just like, oh my God, we're going to die trying to get here kind of thing, and finally made
my
it?
banjo player sitting over there, you might remember this one. Thorsby, Alberta. A little bit south of Edmonton. The mayor showed up. They had dirt roads, I believe, leading to the venue, and I was like, I don't think we're in the right town, but we packed the place. The whole place was full, and they were, to this day, I still get messages from the people in that little town. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, look, man, hopefully we won't have to search you out for this.
Yeah.
You'll be hitting some towns. Hopefully you'll be coming to Toronto, performing here too. But to follow you, man, these days it's all about social media. Where do you go for that?
Facebook. We also, anyone that we notice takes time to follow us on Instagram, we usually follow back. A lot of bands don't do that, and I always tell people, hey, you take the time to follow us, we'll follow you back. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and then for shows, chrisbuckband.com.
I feel bad. Look, can I get the guys to squeeze in here? Because I want to at least, look, they've been playing music for us. Just get around. Don't worry about bumping anything or whatever else. Get the guys in there because, I just want, there we go, squeeze in there. And who do we have over here?
So
Phil Puxley.
And?
Brandon Dane.
I gotta ask you guys, what is it like, performing with this gentleman here? I mean, I had a great interview with him, great guy. What's he like?
It's like a dream come true. I mean, really, like, when are we? Friday, we're in a pretty cool place. We've been on the road for a few days. It's been really fun.
a few weeks.
Weeks, days. The adventure keeps coming.
All right. Well, what do you think, my friend?
This is one of my best buddies. We go way back, and it's just a pleasure being on tour with him and do my best to support him and do whatever I can to make him sound awesome.
And just curious, do you guys remember what he was talking about, that remote place?
Yeah, I remember Thorsby, actually. I remember, even when we left, we were honored with, a motorcycle tire smoke show, a burnout, on our way out after we rocked that house. It was pretty fun.
Oh my goodness. Well, look, man, I'm looking forward to you guys rocking out 2019. Look, as we're heading out, can you guys just hit a little something?
What are we playing here? Okay, that's a cool note.
Yeah.
Let's do that one.
There's a cool note there. I'm going to try to sort of move the camera around a little bit. I'm going to back it off some. There we go. So we can actually see some instruments there. There we go.
The chorus, let's do it.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
So young and free, just killing time, driving too fast on those dotted lines. Those memories won't fade away, looking back on those good old days. Yeah, looking back on those good old days.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for this interview. But more importantly, man, thank you for the great music.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.